Hey, Wild Mamas and friends, welcome back to Wild Mama TV. I'm Tiff, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about my journey of kind of connecting to my intuition. And I want to use a particular incident or two incidents to kind of demonstrate what that journey has been like for me, especially over the last like 2 years. So, this little guy, Lotus, he just turned 2. Happy birthday, Lotus. And I was, reflecting a little bit about an incident that happened when he was maybe about 8 weeks old. So I was kind of meditating. We were going through a lot at that time. And I was kind of in meditation, deep meditation at that time. Um, and I had this moment during my meditation where I had this like super vivid vision of um, I could see like white sand beaches, and I saw a baby on like a board, like I was paddling out into the ocean. I saw a baby facing out with like slightly curly hair, just in a diaper, and then I was paddling out into this like wide open ocean. And I kind of came out of my meditation and was like, OMG, it's a boy and he's a wild child. And I don't think he's going to do very well here. And here at that time was in Chicago. So even though I had wanted to move out of Chicago for over 7 years, I was there for a long time before actually getting out. But fast forward to after Lotus was born, when he was about 5 months old, I had just kind of come into my own in some sense in terms of like career. And I had originally been the director of operations twice, but specifically in this job that I was in. And then I had become the CEO. So for a brown girl in her early 30s, 5 weeks postpartum to become CEO is almost unheard of. Like, it's crazy, right? I had my baby wrapped around my chest when that happened, which is a story I can save for another time. But even though I had become the CEO and I was, doing that work and in a lot of ways really excited about the role and my kind of professional life and growth, I also felt really, really unhappy and unsatisfied. And this is something that went beyond the job. Even when I accepted the job as director of operations, I had never really totally reconciled the fact that I had taken that job because one of my top values is autonomy. And so working for someone else or having a 9 to 5 job usually doesn't work very well for me. But there was lots of different circumstances and I kind of justified it anyway. But deep down inside, I was really, really unhappy with the fact that I kind of felt like I had chose a job over myself, even though I knew myself. And it doesn't mean that I regret taking the job or doing the job because I think I learned a lot that I needed to learn and I grew. However, I just always had this feeling that was really unreconciled for a long time. And it kind of came to a head when I became the CEO, and I was 5 months postpartum. And I was just like super emotional. And the time of year, I don't know if you mamas experience this, maybe depending on where you live, you do, but around December, January ish, when winter strikes, I really struggle with like not just seasonal depression, but just like I feel like a total mess. And so I was kind of feeling that already because I was in Chicago. It was winter time. It was the new year. And then when New Year's start to like come, I start to really think about like, what am I doing? Why? Reflecting, thinking about my goals, thinking about vision boarding, etc. So I was feeling that stuff already, but then I also had the fact that like I had this new 5 month old baby, and then I had this like really intense job that I wasn't totally sold on at a company I wasn't totally sold on. And it all just came to a head. So I ended up going in my bedroom for about 45 minutes, which, with a little guy, that's kind of hard to get 45 minutes to yourself. But I took 45 minutes and I went and I journaled and I was just like, what is going on? What is trying to be like emerged from, like, what's trying to be revealed in me at this moment. And so I was kind of digging really deep, asking a lot of questions, journaling. I pulled some cards from a deck that I had. I read my journal, and I was just asking the question, like, what is trying to be revealed to me? Because I felt like I was coming to a head with myself, that my own deeper wild woman just was wrestling me to the ground and wouldn't let me let up, and not, like, wouldn't let me ignore this inkling anymore. So literally, y'all, the only thing that became clear when I was in my room was Hawaii. I had never been to Hawaii. I had always wanted to visit, but I had never actually been. I didn't know anyone. But that's the only thing that would, like, come up when I was in my room. So I came out of my room and I was like, babe, what do you think about visiting Hawaii for a month? And he's a Virgo, I'm an Aries. So, it doesn't always work out well, but he was super open for whatever reason. And we ended up booking a trip for like a few weeks later to come and visit Hawaii. So in the meantime, it was maybe like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks between me coming out of my room and us visiting. But in the meantime, in between that time, unplanned and unbeknownst to me, I ended up resigning from my job. There were some things that kind of came to a head, and it just all made it really clear that I needed to leave that job, and that job really wasn't what I wanted and wasn't the right place for me. So I resigned. So I ended up coming to Hawaii like just a couple weeks later, with David and with Lotus. And so everything clicked when we came to Hawaii to visit, and everything made total sense. So I won't go into like the full story of like how we moved, but basically after visiting, within 5 weeks of leaving here, we were moved, sold all our stuff, and then are now living in Hawaii for the last 1.5 years or so. But I wanted to share this story because I feel like us mamas, we have a strong intuition. We have a deep, deep knowing, but a lot of times we question ourselves, or we think it's stupid. We think it's dumb. We think that we don't, like, we're too crazy and that we shouldn't listen to those little inklings. However, had I not listened to my inkling to go into my room and like figure out what was going on, and had I not come out and listened to the fact that the only thing that was clear was Hawaii, I never would have moved here, and all of these things that I've experienced never would have happened. But also, the reason why I shared the first story of, my vision that I had with Lotus is I feel this baby manifested us living in Hawaii, even though it was like almost 2 years after having that vision that it actually happened. But I never forgot that vision, and I never forgot that moment. So I just really want to encourage you mamas to like trust your intuition. And even if it's just a little inkling that seems like it doesn't make sense, seems kind of crazy, you don't feel like it's logical, or what will my husband say, what will my partner say, it doesn't fucking matter what anybody else has to say about your intuition. It's all about you, and it's all about you finding and attuning yourself to your own voice and to your own inner wild woman, and whatever it is that you want. So I was talking to a mama just today and talking about how like our intuition gives us little puzzle pieces, right? A lot of us want to throw out the puzzle piece too early because it doesn't make sense, or it's not the full picture. But don't miss out on those little moments, because those little moments are precious little puzzle pieces. And how frustrating is it when you start to make an entire puzzle and you're missing like those 3 pieces and you can't make it a whole puzzle, right? Like that's our life. That's our moments with, it's okay, Bubba. That's our moments with ourself, right? So it's really important to honor the little puzzle pieces that come. And just because they don't make sense doesn't mean they'll never make sense, right? So our intuition is the window, is the messenger of our soul. So you got to listen. And Yes, I know that it can be difficult to distinguish between your intuition, your fears, your emotion, what's mine, what's not mine. But you got to be willing to practice. You have to be willing to listen and take action, because that's the only way you're going to figure out what's yours, what's not. Is this my intuition? Is it not? That's up for you to figure out, right? So I'm sharing this story because my entire life has changed, not because I totally planned this move or I did this, that. Yes, I've planned. Yes, I've, had goals. Yes, I've aligned myself according to my values. I've done all those things. But your intuition is like the magic potion, the magic part that it's really important to honor and to listen to. And it's the combination of your values and your vision and all that you've planned and your intuition. The two combined is what makes life super magical and super special. So I just wanted to share those stories because I'm obviously honoring my little one who's now 2 years old, but also just seeing how far that I've come in these 2 years, and how far, like how my life has changed because I listened to my intuition. So I'm all about planning, I'm all about goals, I'm all about, doing the work, but also the work has to lead to you taking action based on your intuition and your deep knowing, even if no one around you understands. So I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for y'all, wild mamas. We need to do this work. Like, we need to show up for ourselves. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm doing this work, and that's why I want to share with you. So as much as I can share my stories and as much as I can teach what I know, I want to, because I know that that's really important in helping you continue to show up for yourself and not give up, even if you feel crazy or other people don't understand you. No one needs to understand you for you to show up for you. And that's really, really, really important. So I just want you to stay strong, keep showing up, do the work, and listen. Listen to those inklings, and don't just hear it, but take action. Take action on the little inklings that you feel, because that is where your life is truly going to shift and change, especially when you align it to your vision and your values and your whole self, which is something I could talk about in another video. But I love you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Say happy birthday to Lotus in the comments. Subscribe below. And I'll see you next week. Peace.